My name is Jack Klieger, President and CEO of the Museum of Jewish Heritage, a living memorial to the Holocaust. And I'd like to welcome you to the second session of the 21st Annual Fanya Gottesfeld Heller Conference for Educators. We're grateful to the family of our museum's dear friend, Fanya Gottesfeld Heller, of blessed memory, for their ongoing support of Holocaust education at the museum. Fanya Heller was a survivor, a philanthropist, and an author who taught countless students and educators during a remarkable life. She was an inspiration. We all learned from Fanya's spirited dedication to Holocaust education and Jewish learning. The museum has been honored to offer the annual Fanya Gottesfeld Heller Conference for Educators since 1999. Today's program will focus on the topic of art and legacy, bringing together survivors and their descendants, and on a teacher who strives to bear witness through her work with her students. We dearly miss Fanya Heller, and we are honored to remember her with her family. And I'd like to welcome and thank those members of her family in our audience today. At this time, I'd like to invite Elizabeth Edelstein, Vice President for Education, to begin the program.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure and honor to begin today's program. We're so glad you could join us. Every year, the Fanya Gottesfeld Heller Award for Excellence in Holocaust Education is awarded to a teacher whose work exemplifies the values that Mrs. Heller lived. We're very pleased this year to present the award to Ms. Rachel Torres. Ms. Rachel Torres is a proud Nuyorican from the Bronx who transplanted to Newtown, Connecticut 15 years ago. She teaches 9th grade world history and 12th grade AP psychology at Newtown High School. In addition, she advises the geography team and the school's group called Students Advocating for Diversity and Equity. As a University of Connecticut Dodd-E Fellow, Ms. Torres traveled to Lithuania and Poland, where she studied pre-war Jewish life. As a summer seminar participant at the Olga Lengel Institute for Holocaust Education and Human Rights, she visited this museum, the Museum of Jewish Heritage, and was introduced to our exhibits and educational resources. Subsequently, she arranged for her students to meet with a member of the museum's Speakers Bureau, a Holocaust survivor. The dialogue between her Newtown High School students and the survivor was deeply meaningful, and Ms. Torres contributed a powerful article about the encounter to the museum's blog. Ms. Torres's commitment to furthering her own and her students' knowledge of Holocaust history and strengthening her students' resolve to take action in the face of injustice gives life to the legacy of Mrs. Fanya Gottesfeld Heller. We're very pleased to recognize Ms. Rachel Torres today for excellence in Holocaust education. We were very pleased to be able to deliver the actual award to Rachel ahead of time, something you can't take for granted these days. And I invite her now to address the Heller family and conference attendees. Rachel, give me a moment to spotlight you, and I'd love to have you take the mic as soon as I've done that.
Thank you, Liz, so much for this honor. Here is my award. Hopefully you can take a really good look at it. Isn't it just beautiful? First, I'd like to thank my beloved husband, John O'Leary, our 4 beautiful children, Jacqueline, David, Jonathan, and Abigail, my devoted parents, family members, friends, and colleagues. I appreciate your presence here to witness me receive this incredible honor. Your support has made it possible for me to pursue my love of teaching so that I can impact, inspire, and influence the lives of my students in the classroom. Thank you to Jack Klieger, President and CEO of the Museum of Jewish Heritage, and the museum's Board of Trustees for nominating me for this award. A special thank you to Mrs. Heller's family for choosing me to be the recipient of the Fanya Gottesfeld Heller Award for Excellence in Holocaust Education in memory of your beloved. I am truly humbled by this honor. Allow me to begin with Feliz Hanukkah, Happy Hanukkah in Spanish. As a spiritual person, it is not lost on me the significance that I would receive this honor during this Jewish holiday. In this spirit, I dedicate this award to my students, who are the direct recipients of my work that I do in the classroom. Every day, I endeavor to cultivate an environment, whether it's in person, hybrid, or remote, that transforms my students into compassionate and informed global citizens for change. And what better way to do this than through teaching about the Holocaust? A critical lesson I want my students to understand is the importance of remembering and honoring the memory of those who have endured unspeakable tragedy. The proliferation of Holocaust denial via social media underscores how imperative it is to never forget. Unfortunately, there have been incidents of anti-Semitism at my high school and even in my classroom where this has occurred. I heard somewhere that anti-Semitism and COVID-19 have a bit in common. Anti-Semitism, just like COVID-19, is a virus, an age-old one that permeates communities and destroys lives. As we anticipate the arrival of the vaccine for COVID-19 and analyze its efficacy, we need look no further for the vaccine to anti-Semitism. It is Holocaust education. As an educator, it is my duty to administer this vaccine, this form of education, to my students. It is the only way students will develop historical empathy and are challenged to reflect on choices they have made in the face of injustice when they saw something and did nothing. Holocaust education reminds students of the consequences of their choices and the responsibility they have to stand up against bias, against the evils of racism and anti-Semitism and hatred. Finally, Holocaust education reminds students that they can be forces for change despite their age. They have resourcefulness, they have youth that enables them to endure even in the midst of negative circumstances. And with their creativity and problem-solving skills, they can resist injustice, rise above, and make a change. I believe it is Holocaust education that empowers and inspires students to call for justice and reform. And these lessons are exactly what Mrs. Heller sought to accomplish by writing her memoir, Love in a World of Sorrow. I wish I had had the honor of meeting Mrs. Heller and having my students hear her testimony in person. As I read her memoir, I was struck by her authenticity and bravery to share her harrowing experience as a teenager during the Holocaust. It is unimaginable to me that anyone can endure such tragedy and have the fortitude and will to not only live, but to use that experience to inspire others to persevere in the midst of their own tragedy. That is the essence of Mrs. Heller's legacy. I pray that I am able to live up to that honor in which this award, which was bestowed upon me, that of excellence, and that I am able to honor Mrs. Heller and all Holocaust victims and survivors in doing so. May all of their memories be a blessing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rachel. We applaud your commitment to Holocaust education, and we look forward to years of working with you and your students at the museum. Thank you.